Okay, let's get started, everybody. One quick thing that we're going to do, I put this agenda up here, and it's kind of, I have more of an expanded little version of it here, if anybody wants it, but it's basically celebrate. We're going to relapse. Notice you're all celebrating. Okay.
No.
What did you say, relapse?
No.
Does that say relapse?
No.
Yeah, we're going to have a relapse. Recaps. Next step, recap and brainstorming session, strategy session, and then next, no, this is
What's
action.
the difference between next steps and?
No, that's action. Okay. So what we're trying to get out of here is, at the end of this, is to know what are we going to be doing together going forward from here today. All right, so as such, you want to discuss what we're celebrating briefly to people who were at the last 3 nightmare meetings?
Oh, don't say that.
I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Well,
I meant nighttime.
We were at a meeting last night.
Yes,
that
we
was-
know.
Nighttime meeting.
We're not doing that right this
Okay.
moment. Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of shocked that there was a unanimous vote, not just for the shelter ordinance. That, again, for those who don't know, I think some people were saying they just wanted to be a little bit up to date on what that was, and I'd be happy to just briefly share, because it is a huge accomplishment. So what passed on August 8th unanimously, which I have to stress is unheard of really almost in anything, but especially anything to do with homelessness. So that in and of itself was sort of miraculous. And what passed is that for the whole entire city of San Jose, there is now, as of that moment, actually, and as even it got, what's the word? We're predated or something. Backdated, yes, from June 30th, actually. I think they were that confident that it was, going to go forward, is that in the city of San Jose now, all not only faith communities, but all places of assembly, so anywhere the public can assemble, so libraries, schools, gymnasiums, theaters, whatnot, is allowed to shelter people every single day of the year. No restrictions to winter, no 30 days here, no any of that. And up to 50, not 15. Why, just to put it into a scope of what it was before, say, the collaborative formed in the fall of 2015, is on the books, it was for 15 people, up to 30 days. So, and it was for faith communities. So we just went and just sort of like blew this thing out of the water. And I just want to say that the only reason that happened is because of us. And it's because of the grassroots nature of our group. And that it is all people from all cities, because you guys came and you made a commitment, and you came to city council and you spoke and you talked about it, and you started your own movement wherever it was in the city, and the city has been watching very, very closely. And we really knew that, the first year especially, but then the second year we know it couldn't just be a one-off, So they very much took notice and just kind of upped the ante though and did this assembly use. And so I did some research, and there is not even anything close in any city in the nation that comes close to this, not by any means. So I found it curious that the city wasn't advertising the historic nature of it, so I decided we should. And so I'm working on media right now. It's a little slow going. I got a little bite. I got on KGO radio a couple of weeks ago, and Jennifer Wadsworth did a San Jose Inside the day before. So I'm trying to get more bites on that, because it does need to be celebrated. Not only that, but as a tool to engage more people to start coming. So that's what we're celebrating, and this was a huge collaboration. This was not one person, this was a lot of hard work, as you all know, and I'm very proud of us all. And I was hoping that we could celebrate by eating, and also, if we feel like doing so, going around the room and maybe introducing ourselves and kind of what this win meant for us, either that or what being in the collaborative has meant, or just anything that has, it's nice to hear and celebrate and hear what this has meant to one another. I think it inspires us to move forward. So before we do move forward, though, I think it's important to make this as a marker, and just acknowledge that. So that's kind of my little spiel.
So let me say, before we go into
Yeah.
the room, could you just elaborate on what is a shelter or outreach initiative, which
thank
is
you.
also was a companion
Thank
proposal?
you.
which
I
was
apologize.
passed, right?
I apologize.
Yeah.
I got too excited
Yeah,
about I
yeah,
did. I
excited
just
about
got,
ordinances.
I know, I got very excited about it.
Not many people get excited about ordinance.
I know, isn't that sad?
Yeah,
It's a sad life, right? But you know what? Now I'm kind of understanding that there's power in ordinances if you use it in that way. So what we, at the last collaborative meeting that, you know, us guys were here, we were kind of sensing that this was going to be passed and maybe unanimously, but so we kind of had this idea and this discussion of, well, how can we push it a little further and get more? And so the discussion revolved around getting a council member to write a memo, and we proposed a shelter outreach initiative. And we did get Tam Nguyen to write the memo. I have it here if anyone wants to look at what it involves. And that too passed unanimously. So that's the part that I'm shocked by. And so what that is we decided that instead of the collaborative only being responsible to outreach to faith communities and places of assembly, which is, wow, a lot of hard work, and that it would be beneficial to all involved if the city could take some ownership of this ordinance as well as us, and kind of not ask for money. I mean, the collaborative's not interested in the city or, you know, in city money or anything, but we are interested in them taking this seriously and making sure it succeeds. And how they could do that would be by using, say, their database, their pulpit, if you will, in terms of what? Sure.
Did anybody not get that memo?
To promote the initiative, to promote the ordinance that it exists to faith communities and places of assembly, and to help secure locations. And not only that, because volunteers are going to be running these. So it's not just, okay, we got a place of assembly, now what? Well, that won't do any good. So it's also outreaching to volunteers. So we agreed that the collaborative would work with not the housing department, but the individual council offices as well as the communication staff of the city. And so that is what passed. So that is truly amazing because it allows us to create better relationships with the city council members, which is imperative in any cause, and that we will be in kind of in the trenches, hopefully, if they take this on as we hope they do, to help guide them. And I think we are in a unique position to draft, say, the message in a more sensitive manner that I can imagine the city might normally do. So that I think we have, I'm really looking forward to, let's say, the language of utilizing that to encourage and empower people to move forward with it.
And I want to acknowledge, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I want to acknowledge the fact that there were several people that came that week before this council meeting and we went to the council offices. all except one council office and the mayor's office, which they were not able to meet, but all the other 9. And Phyllis went, and Laura's went, and Kathy was not here, Kathy went, and Deacon Stephanie went, and Tina Foley went from Milpitas, and Jim came, Jim Moore.
And the lady who sat and talked.
Tina?
Not Tina,
Oh, Lucy came, didn't Lucy come?
no,
No?
I didn't see Lucy, but remember the lady we talked with outside? And, I love her name,
Oh, Gabriella. She came as well. And then Karen and I went and talked to Stacy Arenas.
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Sylvia,
nobody.
I will never get her name right. Never get her name right. Sylvia Arenas. This is a darling lady. Anyway, Karen and I talked, and we just kind of, we were talking about BTA, but then we kind of glommed on. And she goes, oh yeah, I want to get my faith communities involved in my, oh, you help get our faith community involved? Yeah, just, that's great. So everybody's excited. Tam Lynn, anybody want to talk about Tam Lynn?
Sure. He was at this faith gathering that happened on Sunday, and so he endorsed the movement against hatred and neo-Nazism and all of that. And he sat right up in front, and he walked out with me, and he was a very positive person. So I'm glad.
But who was in the meeting with Tam Lynn? You want to talk about Tam Lynn? How that meeting? Yeah, go ahead. Come on. Tell us what happened. Come on.
No, I mean, this is very, he was very interested, he really wants to do it. And he told us about, he's got 2 sisters, nuns in Vietnam.
Who did
Oh,
what?
thank you.
Who?
Tam Lynn had 2 sisters who were nuns and a priest?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, brother priest. Yeah.
Vietnam.
Who did what? I'm sorry.
Well, they were just Catholic clergy.
And she is not.
And he's not.
No more
And he
trouble.
was identifying with his Catholic background.
Yes.
His Catholic,
Yes.
and he said he talked to
Roman Catholic.
Monsignor Rios. And
He was very interested because not many people in District 7 have actually stepped up. And he really wants them to.
Yeah.
He's written about 3 emails so far since then, saying, when are we going to have a breakfast for faith committees? When are we going to have a breakfast for faith committees? Oh, yeah.
And then he can have his picture taken.
And invite the mayor. Please invite the mayor. Please invite the mayor.
Yes,
So, there you go. Anyone else? Let's see. So,
You wanna go
I
around?
think that's all I want to say. Just acknowledge the people who went out.
So, but it doesn't have to be just even about the initiative or the ordinance, but just what this experience has been like maybe for you? Whatever you want.
So, I don't know if I've met everybody here, but I'm Raymond from St. Lucie and Campbell. And Doris and I work on Safe Park program there. We started Safe Park back in November of 2016, and we've been running it ever since. And we're doing a year-round program for Safe Park. It's been really successful. So thank you. What this committee has allowed us to do is just come and learn and grow and build and try to be an example in the community of what a good Safe Park, what a great Safe Park program looks like. And so far, we've been doing pretty good. So, yeah. Just want to let everybody know that and thank you and let you know, let the people here that haven't met us before that, we're doing this encounter. We're not necessarily part of San Jose, but it's still a family. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
It's like a community now, a little community.
Yeah.
Little family.
What's your experience, Dolores, over there?
Oh, it's been good. I think it has been really well. I think the program's running really well. Yeah.
How many people do
I
you
wish
have?
more people would do it.
We have close to 23 people right now, and about 16, 17 cars. And this is a permanent base of people. They're all registered through the program, so it's not like we have people that are one-offs that come every night. We're at a point right now, and I'd like to appeal to you guys as well, that we're full, and people are just haphazardly showing up, and it's kind of been a little bit problematic for us because people show up and they think we have Safe Park, and we do, but we can't we're not in a position to really take any more cars right now. So if you hear of people that are looking for a place to safe park, please have them call me first. I think many of you know how to get in touch with me. But a lot of small businesses and people just by hearsay or say, oh, just go to St. Lucie, go to St. Lucie. So,
That's Safeway.
yeah, so we get a lot of people that just show up after 10, after all the volunteers are gone, and they're just parking.
That's too bad.
So we're trying to really get that under control. And so far, we've been making some pretty good headway.
And did Amigos do all your screening?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I want to point out here, bringing up the safe car park, there is in San Jose, this ordinance is for overnight shelter indoors.
Right.
Yes.
There is no shelter ordinance, there is no ordinance required by the city. They studied it for a year and decided that they did not want to do any kind of ordinance for safe car parking. They would consider studying it, and the way they're going, you know, who knows, we could, in our lifetime, they might,
Yeah,
might do
they
something.
might.
But it's good in a sense because there's no barrier for entry into it in the city of San Jose.
Right.
However,
Yeah.
I want to point out that we have had in Cupertino, and of course in Campbell, and other places. There is another startup in Morgan Hill, and another startup not yet started, and going to be in Mountain View.
Oh, good.
So these are going to be it's going to be a regional thing. I didn't tell any of you this yet, but Michelle Covert went out to Mountain View to speak to a meeting, the city of Mountain View and some of the faith communities who want to do something, and she mentioned that they ought to connect with us, Winter Faith Collaborative, and maybe be part of our circle or get support from us if they want. So hopefully we can meet with Michelle and she can introduce us to the Mountain View folks. Karen and I have met with some folks that are involved in the Morgan Hill, and you all knew Becky from Cupertino.
Yes.
In those locations, it seems to be a common theme, even though there are ordinances, the city council, the city management has been very careful to say we need safety and security first. So unfortunately, in Morgan Hill, everything goes through the police department.
Yes.
If you want to be in a safe car park in Morgan Hill, you go to the police department to register.
Are they batching?
A similar kind of thing is happening in, here it's going to be happening in Gilroy. And then in Cupertino is sort of a hybrid, you know, but the sheriff's department is kind of involved in that. And I know you folks work with the city of Campbell Police Department, right? And so anyway, so those are the two models, and we hope to expand it greatly this year, and it's part of the ordinance initiative as well, right? So we're
Yes,
gonna be
in
talking
fact,
about all
in the
kinds of-
memo, it does specifically say, we made sure Tam put that in the memo, that it's not just about those overnight ordinance, it's about safe car
Yes, I
parks.
noticed
So
that was in
that's
the
very
big
important,
summary,
and they're all excited about it, I think all of them are, is the feedback
Seems
I'm
so.
hearing.
Seems
And
so.
I wanted to mention that. for the-
Even Mr. Cass, I don't know if you last night heard him about the safe car
No, I
park?
didn't hear him speak.
About the shelter program?
It was hard to
Oh, he
hear.
was so excited. He was the first one to come out, and he was the first one to have his shelter happen in his parish, in his district, in Almaden, and it was the first one to happen, and so he really owned it. He really owned the ordinance last
I
night.
liked it.
Did he say anything about safe car parks specifically?
He
or
did not
what?
say anything about
Okay.
safe car park, but
Okay.
about the shelters, you know, the village shelters.
And I wanted to say that in Mountain View, it's families, correct? That's huge.
There's two things. There is a church, the Trinity, anybody know the Trinity Church?
I
I
don't.
think it's Episcopal, but I'm not positive. The
Where?
Trinity Church in Mountain View, the Trinity
I don't
Episcopal
know,
Church,
Trinity and Mountain.
are going to be using their indoor shelter for families.
Oh, okay.
The safe car parking is probably going to be more mixed.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
misunderstood.
there's two.
Mountain,
that's
There's-
great.
There's one church doing it overnight, and then several churches collaborating to do more safe parking.
So, well, if you, if you need me to go on any ghost
Yeah, we're
days
gonna
or-
need you a lot.
We are.
Because you're our biggest testimonial.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, not to downplay anybody else, any other church, but hey, you're the one operating and surviving and thriving.
We may need him to come to the VTA with us.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to give you a quick breakdown, we're doing mixed families, single men, single women. We have a couple families. We're also doing dinners every other week. And we have a huge volunteer list of people that have said, hey, I'll cook dinner, just let me know what night. So we have so many people that have signed up for that we have scheduled. And they can be any group in the church, like the Rosary Club or the Altar Society or the Knights of Columbus, whoever.
What night of the week usually?
It just depends on when our activity center is available, because we have an activity center that has a full-blown kitchen and seating. So whenever we can fill in the blank spots to get the.
So it's on the
activity
schedule.
center.
Somewhere on
It's on the
schedule.
schedule. Yeah, it's maintained on schedule.
Okay.
So we have a great family-style dinner every other
Wonderful.
week. And we sit down with our City Park guests and we have dinner together. And that's been amazing, because not only do they get to know each other, but they get to know us.
Right.
And that whole thing just really helps with safety and risk.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
Yeah, so
Thanks,
there you go.
And the dinners have worked very well.
My name's Andrew, I'm from Costa Clara, and then also involved at St. John Vianney's Parish. And St. John Vianney's, we had car parks the past 2 winters. But I think the best thing about the collaborative is just seeing more people actively doing stuff, and then also, I mean, people are dying from sleeping on the street, so I think it's a way of really saving lives.
Brittany Ernest from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And even though unfortunately we haven't been able to shelter, we've had the privilege to work in other ways with the collaborative through some leadership, especially the first year when we were just getting things running and organizing the websites, the volunteer websites online. And then we have kind of all over the city different people from different areas who will do meals. We've done some at Grace and some other places. And then both years we've done a monetary donation to somebody in need. Last year was Grace, and then a goods donation, which we're going to get earlier this year.
All right, sounds
Yeah,
great.
it's like pillows and blankets and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I'm still using your pillows.
Oh, good.
We have a year-round shelter for small groups. So thank you very much.
I just want to say, Brittany was just instrumental in the core group our first year, and set up the volunteer spot, which, what's it called now? I'm always going to call it volunteer
Yes,
spot.
I know.
And so she was just very instrumental in that and other things, and I just wanted to point that out so everyone knows that.
As usual, Jolene is nicer than she ought to be, but.
It's just the truth. I'm stating the truth.
Don't be so nice.
So hi, I'm Ruby with Amigos de Guadalupe. For me, what's significant is when I came to meet you all, I came very pissed at the housing department, but also with a tremendous amount of pain, personally as a mother, having to turn away other mothers with children who were living in their car and didn't have a place to go. And it has been a very, very powerful experience, and I'm haunted by the eyes of those moms and those kids. And to be able to say now that a family will have a place to go, or somebody will have a place to go, is absolutely unbelievable. We've been able to get 11 families into permanent housing, right? And it's through this, right? Before people would just get lost. And so for me, it's like now the trajectory of being able to have this ordinance with the assembly, it just augments the options that we're going to be able to give to people, because I think one of the things that I've had to push myself on is we can't determine where somebody should go. But to the extent that we can give options, like you don't have to be feel unsafe in your car in some random, neighborhood. Now you can be in a congregation, you can be in a safe location in a parking lot, you can be in an assembly space during this period of time until you get into permanent housing. We didn't have that before. And so, to be able to feel like there's a team that cares, it is just it's just very powerful and just very different than what my experience has been prior to meeting you guys. And so I thank you very, very much for being part of that team and forming that family,
Yeah.
you know, that you're talking about.
Yeah, Amigos is in all the screening and placement of our safe car parks, and it's been wonderful this year, yeah.
My name is Karen, and my parish is Trinity Episcopal Cathedral. It's right off of St. James Park. And when I first came to one of these meetings, I needed a lot of help because I was just in the thralls of coordinating an overnight men's shelter at my church. And I needed to there was a big learning curve going on during that time. There are a lot of things I needed to learn, and I needed a lot of help. I've kept in touch with a lot of the people who were in the shelter. And I even saw one of them today near a Target store and stopped and talked with him. You know, there are positive stories and some that, you know, don't turn out so well, but that's the way life goes for individuals. But I wanted to say that I couldn't have we couldn't at my church have been able to help the people that we did to help to house them if it wasn't for this group. And we got a lot of help with feeding people who were in our shelter too. And donations of goods, you know, sort of t-shirts and underwear and socks and all sorts of things. So it's just been a wonderful support. And so since I felt like at first I was taking because I was learning and you all were helping me get this thing started, that since then, although we haven't been able to have another shelter at the church because of construction and all sorts of things going on, I felt like anything I could do to give back to this organization is something that I have wanted to do, and you know, so I keep coming to the meetings and you know, trying to help take next steps. You know, to move things forward. So.
You've been instrumental in that, Karen.
We've got a couple things sort of on the burner,
I know.
simmering.
I know.
Anyway, that's that. Go ahead.
Well, my name is Phyllis, and I'm currently at Grace Baptist Church in the program there. And I want to thank you all, every one of you, because of everything that you have done and how far you've got. It's nice and wonderful, amazing to know that you're here, you know, working, because a lot of people don't know who, you know, and what is happening, that you're doing so much and that you've done the things that made a difference to get an ordinance like this passed. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate it. I know everybody really appreciates it. And thank you all very much.
I understand.
You're very welcome.
Can I just ask, and I know Phil isn't here right now, does anybody here know if the city has a PR department?
Public relations.
Yes.
Yeah, I looked into it, and they don't call it that. It's called a communication staff.
Okay.
So that's why we worded it that way in the memorandum. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because I can understand that the individual council members, you know, can be quite busy, and some of them have larger staffs than others, you know. But it seemed to me that it would be a good idea to work through, you know, the city, you know, and if it's not a PR department, but communications, that's fine. You know.
right. So the idea, and can someone go grab Jim and get him? He's not a stray dog.
Street already.
Right. Oh, the chasing after something. I don't know.
He's probably helping somebody out there.
I'm sure someone's calling, there's an
Yes,
emergency,
yeah.
that's always usually what it is. But no, that's true, that it's sort of like two different paths, basically, I think, is how we had envisioned it, which is meeting with the, yay, he was found. Hi.
Everybody went, all right?
Yeah, we already went,
And I-
unless Wes, did
Sure, why not?
yeah, please, and I'll finish answering that.
Okay, sorry, Ann.
Well, so I started this homeless union with a couple other people, and we've done a federal lawsuit against unlawful storage of personal property on city property ordinance. We were able to stop that for about 6 months. In that time, the county and, or the city and service providers came up with cooked up a deal of like, oh, connect people with services, but the city really had no intention of doing that. So we started a flagpole committee in front of the city hall, and did that for about 6 months till they changed the ordinance again, just saying unlawful camping outright, because we had a 66 thing for a little bit too, and that's why it was legal to do it. And then the shelter opened again this last time in November and closed in May. At the same time, Women Alive closed, which is just only unaccompanied females. And then the warming shelter is for anybody, male, female, families, took everybody. And the Salinas City Center, the Chamber of Commerce, and Salinas City Corporate, as well as King City, Greenfield, a couple others, were just kind of against having the warming shelter stay open at least 30 days, 60 days, whatever, until there can be some kind of transition, because the county is now, finally, after a couple of years, we've pushed and been in front of their face, and they know it's their responsibility to take care of people. So the county has really been going strong the last couple of times, and so the political will is getting there, and the staff will, because that's probably bigger than the electeds, to be honest. So they're actually working on some stuff. I ended up opening a shelter for a week, got a red tag immediately. They tried to claim the Oakland ghost ship fire type situation. They were having bonfires and oil drums of lit and amplified music. That was definitely a fire. But we weren't cooking in there. Nobody was smoking cigarettes in there. There's nothing combustible inside the building. But since it didn't have sprinklers, they had to shut me down because of ghost ship fire.
Wow.
Right? And I actually went to the county and the city, begged, pleaded, borrowed, stole from the staff and the electeds. Totally, they were on board with the idea until after I opened it, and I didn't talk to the mayor. I tried to get that on video because this is the sneaky part of things. He kind of gave we're too busy with the budget, don't worry about it, I don't care. Okay, what about in like a month or so? Are you going to come after me then, after you're done with the budget? No, it's so far, and it's kind of like, one of those you can't really say directly, you have to read between the lines type of thing. And so I took it to mean, okay, he's cool with it, but he just red tagged me immediately, which was too bad. But the county's really on board with it, which is awesome. And now we're doing this Slap and Surround thing, which is a bunch of RVs on a strip of road. And there's at least 50, 60 people that have been meticulous about their area. They are on a city road or county road, so they're no overnight camping or whatever. The county has given a blind eye for a while, but then they stopped maintaining, and it became overloaded. And then like, okay, 6 months ago we took away dumpsters and other stuff. Now it's a mess and eyesore. We gotta get rid of everybody. So they kind of set up a problem, and it got overrun. A couple other municipalities also said get out of here, and that was kind of where they ended up magnetizing to. Now they're trying to evict everybody there, and for the last week or so we've been doing like a RV homeowners association, because they own their RVs, so then that's their home. So they don't own a lot underneath it, but it is as good as they can get. And if they can do like a safety patrol, so they need to sign up for services, and they need to make sure their registration is current. And I think on that we can mitigate like the trash, the litter, the bulky items, being poo. The people who are causing problems are gone. Most of those people, the ones that are remaining, are the ones that were there before the influx of new people. So they're still there. They're in their 50s and 60s. They're, you're going to get a skill, but a lot of them are really meticulous about, making sure their RV is clean. And, they go and they take it to a dump, a septic, whatever, and they get it flushed out. And either a free one or $10. $10 closer, free one's further. So, I don't know, that's what we're working on now. We're gonna go to County Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. I'll bring the whole drove of people as I can. And we'll just build our case. We're also doing a letter to the editor. We're also pressuring the sheriff and trying to get the county to do something to stop this. Just not happening.
Good for you.
That's a lot. And we met Wes, by the way, for the, at the Food Not Bombs
okay.
protest at St. James Park a couple weeks ago, and it was
Right.
great. It
And
was awesome.
then he told me about this ordinance, and I'm like, wow!
It's like, what? Yeah,
And he spoke for the ordinance too.
he did a great job, yeah.
So Phil, you're back here now. I was asking Jolene.
I want to make sure Dred doesn't want to talk.
Oh,
Dred,
yeah,
Should I-
Red.
Dred, you want to
Yeah,
say
you
anything?
introduce yourself for a second.
I want to hear. Could you at least introduce yourself?
Yeah, so we know what your voice sounds like?
I'm Dred. My name is Charles McCall. I got involved with this stuff because my sister got evicted, and dynamics changed where we lived at, and so it wasn't the same for people. Well, I feel the people of color thing kills us where I live at, because then we fall up under the association of everybody that works there. There is no black. There's no separation of African or anything. That's why I got involved, to understand, because we all have things to be proud of.
Yes,
You know, and so that's why I'm here.
good.
Great.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. You guys are
I
happy about it.
heard your name down there.
Huh?
I heard your name come up,
Oh, okay.
organizing down there. I didn't hear you. I didn't know the Dread name. I didn't Chuck McCall name.
Oh,
I know both.
okay.
Thank you for being there.
Thank-
Appreciate it.
So I was asking Jolene whether the city has a PR department, and she said it's called Communications Department. And I was saying that